Welcome. This is the Scarlet and Rage Podcast. I am Michael, the voice of reason. With me is my co-host, Jay, the voice of rage. We apologize for the late start. We've certainly been late a few times in the past, but not usually this late. And it's completely my fault. Maybe I'll tell you about that later. But for now, since we're behind, let's get going. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help us get where we're wanting to go subscriber-wise. And, the likes help us out to get the podcast out to others. Jay, got a bit of an off-season episode here today, one I'm excited about. How you feeling otherwise?
Michael, I got to be honest. I'm feeling pretty good now that soccer is gone and no one's talking about it anymore. Because, man, if there is a sport that I hate more than anything in the world, it's soccer. What about you, man? Did you watch any of that World Cup?
No, but I have learned. See, you can take that view. You're married. I've learned not to take that view because I've learned a lot of girls like soccer for some reason. So I have acted interested in it some.
Caroline likes soccer?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I was just talking to her the other day, man, and she seems so intelligent. And now I think she's lost a little bit there.
Well, she was watching all of it. So it's not something that I talked about intelligently with her because I don't know anything about soccer, but she is a soccer player or was a soccer player, played some soccer, and she loves the World Cup. So yeah, I've been trying to pay attention a little bit the last couple of weeks, but still can't say that I know anything about the game, but I'm watching who's winning and losing.
Yeah, I feel you, man. How was your 4th of July?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Not bad. How about you? We went to a fireworks show.
Yeah, my community development actually does fireworks, which is, awesome. And we actually lit off our own, which was pretty kick-ass, man. They were awesome fireworks. But other than that, man, since we're so late, I think we should just jump right into things.
Let's roll.
So tonight, obviously, we have an off-season type show. Obviously, we've never done this subject before, Michael, although you and I are kind of like in that world of what we're going to discuss, but we've never really gone in to discuss it in detail, right? I don't think so. We've kind of like talked in snippets, right?
No, we've just talked. We've just kind of mentioned it here or there, like in an introduction or something. But we've never really fully devoted an episode to discussing this. And it's something both you and I have spent a lot of time with and have a lot of interest in. I think there's a lot of people out there that have an interest in it.
Yeah, no, there absolutely is a lot of people that have a lot of interest in it. And obviously we don't like soccer, but what we do like, Michael, are martial arts, and not just a single martial art, but all martial arts. And with us today, Michael, can we bring him in?
Yeah, let's bring him in. We've got a guest with us today. We got Cole Stanley. He's coming in. Good to have you, Cole. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Cole, what is up, my friend, my man, my brosif? What is going on over there tonight?
No, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I know that you guys wanted to go into a deep rabbit hole with martial arts, which I'm going to. But man, being an Ohio State podcast, some of your listeners have to be wrestling fans. And Ohio State has been on the top of the echelon the last couple of years, including a national championship in 2016, which there's only been a handful of schools in the whole history of the NCAAs that have actually won a championship as a team, right? You've got Oklahoma State, which has won at like 35, 40 times, something like that. You have Iowa, which won at about 30. The dynasty nowadays is Penn State. And then besides that, you have these teams that have been sprinkled in here and there, and Ohio State won it back in 2016. So, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I mean, Ohio isn't my number one, but I definitely like him and respect them.
Well, Cole, I think I need to correct you a little bit. Ohio State actually won the national championship the same year we won the football national championship, was the 2014-2015 season. Logan Stieber was actually one of like the main top wrestlers back then. Had to correct you a little bit there, but as much as we love Ohio State wrestling, they've kind of been a disappointment. They were number 2 all season. They got destroyed by Penn State, and then they didn't do well in the NCAA championships with our main wrestlers. But Cole, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your channel. Tell us a little bit about your gym.
Well, I'm just an individual that is obsessed with anything in the grappling realm. I've been in judo since 2000.
This is the most anticipated smart security camera of the year. No internet connection needed, no wiring or complicated installation, and best of all, it's completely free to use for life. With your data never lost, developed jointly by the U.S. National Academy of Engineering and Caltech, this smart AI-powered camera connects directly to your phone. Even if you're on a plane, you can monitor your home 24/7 in real time, crystal clear, just like watching a live stream. It comes with a lifetime warranty, and if anything goes wrong within the first 10 years, we'll replace it for free. Super compact and packed with a high-capacity lithium battery, this camera can run for over 5 years, even without being plugged in. Here's the coolest part. It has its own built-in network. No need for Wi-Fi or any external internet, just pair it with your phone. And you can check your live feed anytime, anywhere. And yes, the network service is totally free for life. No power cords, no drilling holes, just stick it or place it anywhere you like. You can even mount it in your car as a dash cam, powered by smart AI. It supports remote control and auto tracking. Connect to your phone, and you can instantly view live video, listen to audio, and even talk back through two-way voice communication. All recordings are saved automatically and ready for playback whenever you need them. Plus, it's got infrared night vision, so you get sharp, clear footage even in total darkness. With intelligent motion detection, it automatically starts recording, sounds an alarm, and sends you an alert the moment it spots a stranger or anything suspicious. So even when you're not home, you never have to worry about your kids or elderly family members. A single charge lasts up to 90 days, and remember, it's backed by a lifetime warranty. We guarantee your satisfaction. If you're not happy with it, we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. Order today, and we'll ship it out immediately. Free delivery right to your door. Plus, for a limited time only, you get 50% off. But hurry, stock is extremely limited. Grab yours now before it's gone.
Make your browser fast. Make your browser safe. Make your browser Chrome. Choose Google Chrome for your computer.
I've been a wrestling coach for, I think it's maybe 16 seasons or 17 seasons, which include 6 as a head coach, and jiu-jitsu about maybe 6 years or so, and then, sprinkle in a little sambo. But I've been involved in grappling in some sense for a long time, a quarter of a century. And as of, as the progression happens, and I'm introduced to judo, and then I compete in judo for a while, mostly in the Midwest, because we both know that I'm from Illinois, even though we both live in North Carolina now, but I'm from Illinois. Competed through the Midwest, never in Ohio, actually, now that I think about it, but Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, some places that I competed in. Was actually on a judo team in college, which was cool. I mean, it was just a club, but it was kind of sponsored through the university. So, I got free membership and they paid for tournaments and travel and stuff for us. So it was kind of cool, which was awesome opportunity. I got beat up a lot. But, I get involved in coaching wrestling, and that took up a good part of my life for a long time because I would do it with the kids pretty much all year round. We would have the normal season, which is, November to February at the high school level. But, we do some preseason, we do some postseason, run some camps, do some off-season open mats, host a tournament or two, take some kids to some tournaments. And then I wasn't really as involved with judo for a while. I mean, I would do it, probably there wasn't a longest period past about 6 months where I wasn't involved with it. But as far as grappling wise, I'm doing something all the time. Right. And then I started getting back into judo, and then I found some opportunities to coach, which I still coach over in Indian Trail. And then as of January
I've never been
of
there.
This year, what?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I'm messing with you, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. Then as of January this year, I opened up my own dojo. So I've been doing that, and then you sprinkle in some.
And that's in judo,
teaching.
right, Cole?
Yeah,
Judo.
it is.
Okay.
It is. But and again, this could be a whole discussion on its own. What is judo? There's judo, the art, right? That was created in 1882, and what judo was originally looks a lot different than what it is now, right? I would say what I do and what I teach and the things that I go over touch on old subject matter in judo, and it looks a little bit closer to what judo looked like many years ago, because there's been rules to take away leg grabs and almost no time on the ground to work submissions and a couple other things. So I teach a little bit different. You could think of it like as a hybrid style that combines judo, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling, or you could think of it as old school judo that incorporated all that stuff anyway.
Mm.
And like I said, it mixed in doing some travel teaching. I go all over a couple different states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Illinois, Iowa, a couple different places. I did some travel teaching and mostly teach judo for jiu-jitsu, but I do some wrestling clinics. I do some straight up judo. I do some no-gi. So I'm busy, man. I'm busy.
So let me ask you this. Since you've got a wide kind of palette or variety of grappling, the big debate amongst I don't know what you would call it, just people that maybe are mildly involved in martial arts, and then those that like just watch YouTube and Twitter, feeds or something, which one is the best on the street? So I know that's kind of a surface level question, but a lot of people who know nothing about martial arts, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever, they've heard of it. It doesn't mean a lot to them. What do you think if you are in one of those situations where you cannot get out of some type of confrontation?
What are the paragons? The paragons, like what are like the core martial arts somebody's got to know if they want to kick fucking ass, man?
Of the grappling that you have practiced, and you can only take one in with you to this confrontation, what would it be?
course I'm going to say judo.
Okay.
Of
But-
course he would.
Yeah, but so I heard a really interesting take on this the other day, and I really kind of vibe with it. So there's a pretty famous grappling coach called John Danaher. Have you guys heard of John before?
Oh yeah. Yep.
John Danaher, Gordon Ryan's coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was on the Lex Friedman podcast when he was asked this, but Lex is like, is jiu-jitsu the best martial art for, self-defense, street fighting, whatever? And he broke it down like this, right? That martial arts can be categorized in two different ways. One, a martial art that incorporates a live sparring, situational, controlled environment.
Yep.
And you have ones that work on theory, right?
Yep.
To where they say that this, is dangerous, and we do moves to, break arms and to knock people out and to do stuff like that.
We
but
can't
there's
practice
no
it because
sparring
it's so lethal. We can't practice it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, whether you put in basically, and John Danaher talked about this, he said, no matter if you were to take somebody from, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo, sport karate, sport taekwondo, whatever, take one of those individuals that have been doing it for maybe just a couple of years, not somebody that's, a black belt, but just somebody that's been doing it a couple of years, compared to somebody that's involved in a non-sparring martial art, a theoretical martial art. He's going to pick the person that does sparring 100% of the time. So,
yep, absolutely. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. There's a big difference between the two. I've been in both, and then one that maybe is kind of a middle ground. I've done 6 years of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Then I didn't really know what it was. Seemed cool. Steven Seagal did it. It was well earlier in my life. I tried some Aikido, and I was like, this probably isn't going to work. Like a lot of this, it's not that there's nothing useful in it. I actually used a few Aikido wrist locks in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Jay, that worked for taps. But it might work in conjunction with a lot of other things. If you just take that, you're probably not going to be prepared, especially for somebody who kind of knows how to handle themselves.
I'm going to say that, in my opinion, if I'm going to say like the paragon for a martial, I don't know that you can take a single one because none of them are perfect. In my studies with all of them, each and every one have weaknesses. And in my opinion, if you're going to do this, you kind of need to be able to be good at everything, or I'm not saying you're wasting your time, but you're really leaving yourself open to some serious problems. I would say that, your number one base is probably going to have to be wrestling. Look at it in the UFC, man. The best fighters are the best wrestlers usually. Then I would say judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. There you come from the same grappling tree. Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing. Once you have those, and to add on to what you were saying, Michael, I think you can start playing around with like Aikido, where, I think Aikido really works. And like one of my, old instructors used to shit on Aikido all the time. And I'm like, well, if you have a base grappling, Aikido is going to work. You have to control position before submission, right? Same thing applies in Aikido. If you're going to wrist lock somebody, you're going to have to control their arm and make sure you have like a fulcrum to, submit somebody's wrist or ankle or whatever. Taekwondo, Taekwondo, as we all know, it's flashy kicks. And if you catch one of their kicks, take them down, the fight's over for them. So, you got to have one of those base martial arts before moving into like the more showy, flashy stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that was what I found with Aikido. There was nowhere else. I was in a situation where there's really nowhere else to train during that time. I was kind of doing it for exercise, and I did it for 2 years before I moved from that place. And It's
now,
not
Michael, I want you to know, go ahead.
It's not worthless, but if that's like the guys that's all they did, like you could tell it wasn't, they were not prepared to really do anything forceful, because everything
There
was
was this
just
dude on
practice.
YouTube. I watched back in the day before we even had our channel. It was called like Martial Arts Journey or something. Cole, you may have like seen it. He was like some guy who started in Aikido and realized it didn't work. And then he like moved on to MMA and he realized like none of his Aikido stuff worked in MMA and all that stuff. It was actually an interesting show. I don't know if he's still around anymore, but Michael, I don't really mean to call you out, man, because we've had some vivid conversations on this, but you have some real hesitation with judo. So I'm curious.
Get a GoDaddy website, email, and matching domain bundled together for one low price. It's everything you need to bring your business online, bundled together to help you grow and save. Start today at GoDaddy.com.
Can you give your opinion to Cole? And I'm curious what Cole has to say with your thoughts with judo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my reservation with judo is just personal in that the gym that I was in Cleveland, Ohio, where I did about 4.5 of my 6 years of jujitsu, it was a heavy wrestling gym. There was a lot of wrestling is huge in Cleveland. St. Ed's wins the state championship almost every year. There was a bunch of St. Ed's wrestlers that would come in after, they were 19 or 20, and these guys were really good high school wrestlers, and they were very hard to deal with. And I'm learning at this stage in my life, I had done striking, I had done some boxing, I had done karate, but this was new to grappling for me. So our instructor was, of course, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but also a brown belt in judo. And so he also wrestled in high school. So he kind of laid out the menu before us. He would go over some judo. He would go over wrestling takedowns. I was getting taken down by a bunch of wrestling takedowns. I was not getting taken down by a bunch of judo takedowns because there weren't a lot of judo guys in my school. So when he would kind of present the judo options, I just didn't gravitate to them because I was like, I don't have time to really learn how to do that good to somebody who's resisting me. However, I can drill this double leg takedown 30 or 40 times a class, single leg takedown, and I can get really proficient at those in a pretty short amount of time. So that was why I won't say rejected, but I just didn't spend any time with judo. I was like, no, this is the path that I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, no, it's a completely good, valid point because conceptually grabbing the leg is one of the easiest ways to take somebody down to the ground, right? Because once you take away one of somebody's legs, they're only standing on one leg. Or if you take both legs out, then they're not standing on anything. So conceptually, initially, it is easier at the beginning to learn how to do a single leg or a double leg as opposed to some of the stuff in judo because it is a little bit more complex to an extent. And to understand the takedowns of wrestling happens quite a bit quicker than to understand, the technicalities and just the beginnings of learning in judo. It takes years, man. It takes years to really understand what judo is and how to apply judo and how to successfully do it, especially when you're doing it against somebody that's resisting too,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because it's one thing for, I could tell, okay, well, I can kind of do this, but like when it came time to spar, I'm nailing some single leg takedowns. I've only been doing these for 6 months or a year or whatever at the time. Eventually I start nailing some double leg takedowns. I just kind of saw for me, like, man, I would have to do what Jay's doing. Like, I would have to separate. And our guy did have a specific judo takedown class that if you were interested in that, you could go drill that and work on that. But yeah, so that's I certainly respect it. I remember when I was a 4-stripe white belt, this guy was a big guy. He was about my size. He was, 230 pounds or so, maybe 240, might've been a little bigger than me. But he was a brand new white belt. And, I'm a 4-stripe white belt. I've been doing this probably 15 months at this point. And he murdered me. He choked me out a couple of times. He, threw me once, whatever. And I was kind of bummed out. And the instructor said, well, what's going on, Big Mike? I said, well, I pretty much got my ass kicked today by a brand new white belt. And he goes, who? And so I pointed at him and he goes, oh, yeah. He said, you didn't get your ass kicked by a white belt. He said, he's a black belt in judo. And I said, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My thing is with judo, man, and Cole, you're absolutely right. And Michael, I mean, you're both right. And my only thing is with judo is, man, dude. And if nobody knows, by the way, Cole is actually my judo instructor. So yeah, there you go.
Too much to do? Let Gemini in Chrome handle it. Let's start here. Auto Browse gets it done. Use Gemini in Chrome to fill your cart in one click.
I have free time now on the weekends and evenings, even though I'm running a busy lawn care business. I use Jobber. I can have quality time with my family. And I'm not worrying about invoice, schedule, or chasing payments.
Start your free trial today.
One thing you notice with judo is if you're going to hit a judo, like the thing is with judo, you're right, Cole, it takes so fucking long to get good at those throws, man. And one thing I've noticed with judo specifically is they are high risk throws. You better hit those fucking throws or somebody's going to fucking body lock you and dump you. So when you do a judo throw, it is extremely high risk. And I'm not going to say it's dangerous for you, but it's going to possibly put you in a really bad spot, especially if you're trying on somebody bigger than you. That's just going to be hard to get off the ground. And, your technique is going to have to be on fucking point, man, to get somebody like that off balance. Whereas folk style wrestling, the danger is just not as much. If you try a low single on somebody and just basically get back up real quick, it's very, very low risk, high reward. Whereas judo is high risk, high reward, I would say. High risk and high reward. Wrestling is more low risk, high reward.
It depends on the throw and the attack. But
right.
Yeah, it just, and that's, from being with me for quite for however many classes now, I do a lot of stuff that's a little bit higher percentage most of the time. And then I sprinkle in kind of some of these big throws, but there's a handful, and those are the ones that I focus on a lot, right? It's the ones that are a little bit easier to learn, a little bit higher success rate, and a little bit higher of a chance that you're not going to get countered or put into a bad situation. But, any time that you turn your back to somebody and attempt to pick them up, there's always going to be some danger to that, so it's, but, and I talk about this too. So in judo specifically, there's 68 throws in total that the Kodokan has identified, and 75% of them are from the waist and below. So, or as what I like to call low elevation throws. But, the thing is too, is people, like if you're talking about a spectator sport, people like to see these big moves, right? And these big moves for judo specifically are these big throws, right? Or these extremely cool foot sweeps that knocks the people's feet off the ground, and it's cool. But if you were to watch, that tournament of highlights, and you saw a handful of people doing some big throws, but the majority of the points that are happening are from these low elevation techniques that aren't very flashy. They're just effective. And again, it's like that, and it's another topic that I try to talk about and emphasize is trying to get people's understanding of judo a little bit better, and to take away some of the misconceptions about judo. Unfortunately, in the United States, judo isn't very popular, and a lot of people either don't know what it is or only know it from watching the highlight reels. And Jay, you've seen from coming in, it's not like that. It's we aren't doing big throws all the time. It's grip fighting and controlled takedowns and transitioning to groundwork, and then working on groundwork and working on pins and stuff. It's different than a lot of people think of what it is.
What is your take, and why there's not a lot of judo representatives in the UFC? Do you think it's a function of it not being popular in America? It's a function of kind of what we talked about earlier, bang for your buck, getting super proficient at something quicker. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, judo is a jacket wrestling martial art. So when you take the jacket or the gi top away, you have to adapt to the style, right? Whenever you saw UFC earlier on, or even Pride earlier on, and people were wearing gis, you would see a little bit more judo represented there. Now, the thing is too, is there's quite a few, both, current UFC fighters and UFC fighters in the past that have judo training or are
Sure.
a black belt in judo,
Sure.
but it's not highlighted as much because of the lack of the jacket, right? Judo, a lot of the throws in judo.
The Icon G2 ratchet lineup just got even bigger. New styles, expanded sizes, and tool truck quality at prices that make sense. Icon G2 ratchets, only at Harbor Freight.
AI is generating.
Tim, with Monday Sidekick, AI is easy.
Right, like I have spare time.
Just click the star and Monday Sidekick does it all. It can manage projects, craft campaigns, sorts data, you name it.
You sure it's safe?
Timmy, your data's protected.
Maybe this Monday thing can help us out. Thanks, Llama. You're oddly reassuring.
I get that a lot. Must be the first.
Monday Sidekick, AI you'll love to use. Monday.com.
Maybe even not a lot. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but using the jacket as an advantage to throw somebody or to take somebody down is what judo does, right? And whenever you take the jacket away, you have to change what you're doing, right? So that's why you see, wrestling doing a little bit better. But there's a current, UFC champion, Kayla Harrison, who was a two-time Olympic gold medalist in judo, and she is absolutely just running through everybody. Ronda Rousey was a judo champion. He wasn't in the UFC, but he fought at Bellator, a couple other ones. Rick Hahn, he was another judo Olympian. Makachev, he's a black belt in judo. Khabib, I can't remember if he's a black belt in judo or not, But
Khabib is a black belt and everything.
Yeah.
Grappling.
I'm not 100% sure if he is or not, but you don't see it represented as much because of that fact, right? Wrestling transitions much better to the UFC because you don't have a jacket, but the thing is too, folk style wrestling specifically is probably the best grappling art for mixed martial arts because folk style wrestling focuses on controlling the body and taking people down in a controlled manner and then holding them down, right? Not letting them get up, which, again, we go into there's a lot of tangents with this, right? There's a lot of martial arts that don't focus on once you take somebody down, they're not constantly trying to get to their feet. So, because of the rule set or whatever, so it's not practiced as much. But in something like mixed martial arts, you take them down. If they are a striker, they're trying to get back up to their feet right away. And folk style wrestlers are the best in the world at keeping somebody down on the ground that's wanting to stand up. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point on Ronda Rousey, man. I think she might have been the biggest star in the UFC for a little while there. And I used to say back in the day, whatever it was, back in her prime, like 10 years ago, when I was a single guy, of course, that I said, hey, Ronda Rousey, we can grapple anytime naked. I'll be your little like training dummy, whatever. And you can arm bar me any day. It's okay. Yeah. I'll take it. Michael, I feel like you were about to say something, man.
What was I going to say? Yeah. I mean, taking that to the street, obviously there's variables and things that have to happen. You have to stay out of somebody's striking range because, there are people out there that are not super trained in fighting, but they can throw some pretty effective punches if you get right in their range. So, I mean, you have to manage that distance and close the distance. But that being said, if a relatively untrained person, let's just say they're kind of a tough bar fighter, they're just kind of an asshole or something. We're not talking about a trained person. The distance is closed and they grab to kind of tussle and lock up with a trained judo practitioner. It's probably not going to go well for them at that point.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Well, really, if you're talking about a trained person that has a lot of experience in any martial art, right?
I'm talking a judo guy, 3 years of training versus a guy that's not trained. Like it grabs onto him. Like it's probably not going to go great for the guy who's never been in the gym.
Well, where you'll see the biggest difference is going to be when they hit the ground. That'll be the biggest difference, without a doubt, because even if you take an individual with any sort of ground fighting, right? Wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, and this individual just has maybe 6 months of experience against somebody that has no experience at all. When they go to the ground, it's going to be night and day difference. You're going to see that the most, without a doubt, is when they hit the ground. Because again, it's not something that's practiced, and it's not like instinctual. And to be honest, and you both can probably attest to this, you have to kind of fight reflexes at the beginning of a grappling journey, right? Like when you're doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, right? Like you go to the ground, your first instinct is going to be to turn away and go to your stomach, which is the worst thing you can do, right? Because you give up your back. So it's interesting because instinctually people just don't know what to do when they get to the ground, right? People have the whatever, just the natural instinct to like swing fists or to maybe kick or something like that. But man, when you go to the ground, you just, unless you have some kind of training, you really have no clue what you're doing.
Michael, I know this is kind of a, interesting question, but Michael, what got you into martial arts? I guess we'll just go around Michael, what made you initially get into it? I feel like you were doing it as like a young kid some, and then like you, as an adult, you found more of like an MMA style gym and stuff.
Yeah.
But what was your biggest draw to it?
I mean, for me, it was, when I was younger, it's just I wanted to learn how to fight some. I just wanted to learn what I could learn and figure out how to fight some. And incidentally, it's early in my.
Get a GoDaddy website, email, and matching domain bundled together for one low price. Plus, built-in marketing to create social content and build your brand. You get everything you need to bring your business online and look professional. Bundled together to help you grow and save. Start today at GoDaddy.com.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one, to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality, right now.
High school, it came into play. I was attacked, literally. Like, I wasn't starting the fight. I didn't do anything. I was attacked. I was rushed at. And just the striking training that I had enabled me to kind of cut an angle on a guy and win a fight in high school. Now, had it have been somebody who had ground training and was able to get me to the ground, I would have been in trouble. And I found that out later in life, even though I could strike pretty good. I mean, especially for like just a guy walking around. But, I realized, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing down here. And so I was looking to get back into martial art in my early 30s. And I looked at several different things. And, I just went to jiu-jitsu, went to a class. I hated it. And I hated it so much. I was like, this is probably exactly what I need for my ego and my body and everything else.
Oh, man. Interesting.
I don't know if I actually needed it for my body, as I'm sitting here with a messed up shoulder and all kinds of injuries.
Yeah, man, dude, you're not even healed from your shoulder injury, bro. You haven't trained in what, over a year?
Yep. It's been over a year.
Damn, bro. Motherfucker. I mean, like, I think, I've done some work in the past where, I've had to learn how to like handle myself and stuff. But, I was doing martial arts as a kid, and I think my dad just got me in. My first martial art ever was something called Bondo, Bando, and that's more like weapons.
It's got some decent stuff.
You know it?
I took it for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah, Bondo. So Coach Hogan was like my first like martial arts instructor. Again, I was a kid. I don't remember any of that stuff. Then I took like a couple years of karate through high school. And then about, like 9 years ago, I got into BJJ. I'm a purple belt now. But in that time, I, also improved my striking. I did about 5 years of formal kickboxing and Muay Thai. And obviously I was able to learn some decent wrestling. Obviously, I'm taking judo now. I feel like a lot of this, man, like I haven't really had to use this in a real fight, but a friend of mine was hosting like a combatives class a couple weeks ago. Michael, I think I told you about this. And there were people from all shapes and sizes in there. And obviously, if you're fighting somebody with a weapon, it's different than fighting somebody with just, hands and stuff. Because, I was like training with some kid. He was very athletic, very athletic kid. And he was like going 110% the entire time. I'm like, motherfucker, man, it's going to be one of these classes. So I'm like having to control this extremely athletic kid. And, after a while, I'm like, fuck this. I'm just going to start fucking this kid up. And I did. I just started fucking this kid up. And one thing you realize fighting against people, even like other grapplers or other strikers, it's like, you know, and that's where I'm kind of like at the point, and I made a point earlier in the show is if you're going to do it, it's a good idea to probably learn a little bit of everything because you just don't know who you're going to run into in the street. One thing I noticed, like a couple of BJJ guys had absolutely no striking. I'm like, man, you're lucky. Like we're just kind of playing around because the fight would have been over already if we were like still fighting. I went against like this wrestler guy. He tried to take me down and I just realized I could just tee off on him. A couple other guys that had absolutely no grappling and some striking, you know. But basically, I guess to wrap this all up, you know, at first I did it because, you know, I needed it for work, but now I just like to kick fucking ass, man. That is just so fucking awesome to be able to walk into a room and be like, hey, I can fuck you up, I can fuck you up, and I can fuck you up, most likely. It's a nice thing to have. It just in case. Not saying you should ever start a fight. Never, ever start a fight. But if you get into one, you better fucking finish it. Cole, why did you get into martial arts?
Well, so I think it was like a Taekwondo type sort of martial art when I was a little kid. I'm not sure what grade, maybe second or third grade. I wasn't in it very long. But growing up watching, you know, the Ninja Turtles and, you know, the Ninja movie explosion in the 80s. Yeah. And professional wrestling and stuff like that. I mean, me and my friends were always, you know, grabbing each other and wrestling and punching each other and throwing on the boxing gloves and, you know, wrestling on the trampoline and, you know, things like that. And I did a little bit of striking, you know, like I said, I think it was like a YMCA Taekwondo kind of thing for maybe a couple months. And then later, I really wanted to do wrestling in high school, and they didn't have wrestling where I was at in Illinois at this little school. There was only 50 in my graduating class, very small school. I wanted to wrestle and they didn't have it. And then somebody that I grew up with named Adam, he said, have you ever done judo before or heard of it? And at the time, I can't really remember what I said. Probably no. I probably either had no idea what it was or barely any knowledge of what it was, right? And he's like, you know, my cousin, who was a 3-time Illinois state champion, he's a black belt in judo, and they have a club up in Yorkville, Illinois. And, you know, maybe you should go try it since, you know, you want to do wrestling. It's pretty close to wrestling. So then I started in 2000, and yeah, that was 26 years ago.
26 years. So how old are you, Cole?
Gracious, man.
43.
Okay. All right.
How old are you, Michael?
I started when I
You're
was
about the
17.
same age, aren't you?
I'm 44.
Goodness gracious, man. See, like, and if you don't know, Cole is like throwing me through a wall. He's already fucked me up a couple times, so I'm no match for him.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
You know, this is actually a really good question here.
Ever since we started using Jobber, we've 6x'd in revenue, we've 3x'd our team. Things have just been going so much more smooth.
Even within our like 14-day trial, we were just like, whoa, we have missed out on so much, and like we have been working so hard like this whole time when we could have just made the switch to Jobber and it just do all of it for us, like all in one place. It changed our business and it'll change yours.
So Cole, obviously I've listened to your show, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're of the belief that, you know, it's good for everyone to know martial arts. Would you say everyone?
Well, it depends on like what you want to venture into when you talk about martial arts as a whole, right? Because the whole ideal and belief system that centers around almost every martial art is the improvement of self, right? And it is a continuous quest to better yourself and to try to achieve perfection in whatever art you're involved in, right? So if you're talking about martial art as far as that, yes, because and people always think about the fighting aspect of it, and really the people that have been involved in martial arts for a long time, decades, they are going to use every avenue and every escape path that they can to not get into a fight, including me. Like the last thing I want to do is get into a fight on the street anyway. But the thing is like, if you're talking about just martial arts as a whole, that's a lot of different stuff, right? You have everything that ranges from Tai Chi, which according to some is the ultimate martial art because it has the longest longevity of any martial arts style out there. Because you see these 90-year-old people, not so much in America, but in Japan, China, places like that are doing Tai Chi in the park for hours on end, right? And I mean, I know firsthand, people that aren't even close to 90 that that have a cane, that are stuck in a wheelchair, that can't do anything, right? And as far as focusing on discipline and pushing yourself to your limit and understanding your body and controlling your mind and controlling yourself in panic situations and things like that, I mean, there's nothing better to learn than martial arts. Absolutely.
So Michael, you and I kind of discussed this a little bit, and I think that's a really great point that Cole makes. But as we all know, people can say one thing but do another. And while they may have the most noble reason to do martial arts, it doesn't always turn out that way, because we know that there are just bad people in the world. We know this. And there are some people who will use martial arts to be more of a jackass or just a threat to society. And it's not just even like, you think of some comic book characters. Cole just mentioned the Ninja Turtles. Who is the Turtles' biggest enemy? The Shredder. The Shredder is a bad dude, man, but he is a badass dude at the same time. He uses his martial arts to, punish people and use it to wield his power and, and be an enforcer. And who's to say, like, yeah, most people probably would use it for nobility and a noble cause, but there is that small percent, and maybe even a bigger percent than that, who would use it to just continue doing what they're doing. I'm not, and for, I don't know who some of these people are. Some guy off the street just asks, hey man, I want to learn some martial arts. I'm like, who the fuck are you? I don't know you. Like, are you paying me to do this? Like, I'm not just about to start teaching you martial arts. I don't know what you're going to use it for. Who are you? I'm going to, all of that stuff. But Michael, what do you think? I feel like I think you might have made some points with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely is, a lot of times in a lot of martial arts, like Aikido, or kind of the way that karate has kind of been softened in America over the last 40 years. You have an idea, basically like, well, you're always kind of thinking about, in those martial arts, kind of that untrained asshole who's just going to pop off. Like, you're going to be in better shape than him. But there are assholes that are trained, and they will pop off, and they will fight in, out in public, and they will, at times mess people up. So, I mean, that certainly is a very real part of it. I'll say this. I think a lot of those kind of people, a fair amount of them, at least, get weeded out in the real martial arts, like we talked about, where you have to train with another person. I think a big part of that is the ego.
It's official. The Jersey Mike's chicken salad sub is back by popular demand.
Guess it's time to unfreeze Danny.
Hey, I said keep me frozen until the chicken salad sub is back.
It is back.
Is it still made fresh in store and loaded with slow-roasted, all-white meat chicken?
Yep, still the same.
I can't move my arms. How long was I in there, 60 years?
About 11 months.
The chicken salad sub is back for $8.95 for a limited time only at Jersey Mike's.
There was a guy that came in our gym in Cleveland. I was a 4-stripe white belt. I'd been a white belt for about 18 months. And, my gym was kind of the older mentality that they needed to see you beat somebody bigger than you that was untrained before you were going to go to blue belt. And so, I'm relatively big guy, 6'2.5" or so, and about 230 pounds. So there's not that many guys bigger than me. Well, a guy came in one night. He was about 6'3.5" or 4", about 250 pounds. And, just kind of you could tell he probably brawled a little bit on the street or something. He got beaten badly all night because he was aggressive and he was basically going against people that were trained. I got to go against him. I beat him. That's how I got my blue belt. I went in afterwards. So the instructor, like the next day, he wasn't there. He said, "Hey, I heard you, took on a big guy and handled him like real easy. That's great." I said, "Yeah, he said he might be back." He said, "No, he's not going to be back." And I said, "Well, why do you think that?" He said, "Well, I've seen a lot of those kind of guys come in." He said, "Once they get their ass handed to them, they don't come back." And that's the ego part of it. Yeah. And so the guys, if you're not willing to develop in your character to some degree, it does make it hard to go from a novice to a really good practitioner of one of those real sparring type martial arts.
Man, I don't know, Michael. One of my black belt friends did say the other day that he knows a lot of really fucked up people that are black belts. He'll go in there and talk shit about people all the time. He's like, maybe he's a gossiper, I don't know, but he will say, like, when you become a black belt and whatever, it just makes you be who you want to be more. And I was like, really? And then but he's one of those people who will say, like, he doesn't go promoting like jujitsu or wrestling. He just tells people, like, when somebody goes to him, it's an interesting thing that he's told me and other people. He says they'll ask him about Brazilian jiu-jitsu and he'll tell them, "Don't do it. It's not for you," because he feels like he likes the novelty aspect of the martial art. And he's like, if they're already on the line, if they're like in limbo like this and they're asking him, that's probably not for them anyway. They just need to go forth and just do it on their own. I don't know. He's a unique individual, but I'm not going to say he's wrong about all that either.
Yeah, you get all different stripes, and I think that's where it comes down to the gym. If a gym has a certain mentality that you're going to try and weed those guys out, very few of those guys hang around when there's like a pretty good camaraderie, or there's a pretty good attitude, I guess you could say. Those guys that are trying to cause trouble, not to say that they can't advance or that they can't be problematic as they get older. They absolutely can. But, that being said, there always is going to be some level of humility, especially in grappling when you're starting off. You can't advance unless you get humbled somewhat.
What are your thoughts?
I get humbled all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it never stops.
I think we all do.
We all do. And there's a couple instances, like in a couple weeks at the end of the month, I'm going to the US Open camp down in Florida, right? The US Open, that's one of the biggest judo tournaments in the country. And I'm going to go to this camp and, I'll probably be one of the worst guys there because they're all 20-year-old black belts that are, trying to win national titles kind of thing. And I'm just a 43-year-old guy, right? Just trying to, hold it together.
It's so fucking crazy, man, that the youth who like start martial arts are like so much better than us. Like there is this kid today and he's been in this for, I think I saw him today for the first time in years. He's 15, but it's always really been doing for like the last 8 years. And it's like, man, this kid moves so well. But obviously he's young and limber. And it's just like, motherfucker, man. Like we were all so late to all of this. Well, I guess you weren't, Cole, but maybe me and Michael somewhere. Here's a good question though. So like, we were talking about like, whatever, like when it comes to like everyone knowing martial arts, I did run this through AI once, but what percentage of people do we think, I guess in the United States, let's just start in the United States. Do we think really know how to fight? Because Michael, I think I literally was like on Facebook, I saw a video of a sheriff in Florida who was off duty. Like, he was just being a little bitch boy. And I guess, he was trying to kiss this old man's like wife in front of the dude and like, trying to make a move on her. I watched the video and this, some like average bystander, thankfully, came over and grabbed him and took him down. But this sheriff, he's in law enforcement. You can tell he has absolutely no fucking clue what he's doing. The guy who grabbed him had no fucking clue what he was doing. And it's like every time you see these weird brawl videos and fights, and it's like, dude, I can count on like one hand how many times it looks like somebody knows what the fuck they're doing. What percentage of society do we think actually knows what they're doing? Obviously you want to always be weary of people, but it's like, man, most of these fuckers don't have a clue. I don't know. What do we think?
With GoDaddy Website Builder, you get the lowest priced website builder guaranteed. So you can create a beautiful website for your business without overpaying. Packed with powerful growth tools to build your brand, GoDaddy Website Builder is the fast, affordable way to get online for less. Start today at GoDaddy.com.
The Icon G2 ratchet lineup just got even bigger. New styles and expanded sizes deliver tight arc swings and minimal back drag. All powered by innovative split pawl technology for ultimate strength and durability pros expect. And tool truck quality at prices that make sense. Backed by a lifetime guarantee. Icon G2 ratchets, only at Harbor Freight.
Well, the majority of the people that you see that are brawling don't have any training, because one of the first things that training teaches you is to keep composure, right? And to problem solve and to diffuse situations. So that's the first reason. Or you see somebody that says, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. Their hands are up. I don't want to fight. And then the guy grabs him, and then you see the guy's expression completely change. And then he gets tossed and just absolutely just humiliated in front of his friends, because he messed with the wrong guy, and he gave him every chance in the world to not fight him, but he insisted, so he had to get shown, which has happened to me, by the way. But
wait, you actually started a fight with some dude, or wait, what?
No. There's only been a couple of, like, I don't know, whatever you would classify as like a real fight or whatever. I've only been in a couple. None of them have ever, I've never started any of them. But this was, I'd probably been doing judo for, at least 10 years, maybe 15 years, already, coach wrestling, etc.
All right, I need to hear this. This sounds good.
Well, mean, it's not good because I don't like these situations, but so at this like town hall, like a building that you can rent out, for activities. And my friend, I believe it was at his, no, it wasn't at his reception. I forget what it was for, but anyway, he rented out this building, and of course there's like a couple kegs and, stuff. People are having a good time. And just for whatever reason, like this guy who was younger than me and just, very, very loud, loudmouth, right? I don't remember exactly what like he said to me, but he's like, you should go do this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that or whatever. And he's like, what'd you say? You want to do that? And I'm like, I don't know what your issue is, man, but I don't want to fight you. I don't know why you're getting up in my face. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to do what you asked me to do, but like, I don't have a problem with you. And then he grabbed me by the throat, and then it didn't end very well for him. But
yeah. So did you throw him? Did you take him to the ground? What was the result? Yeah.
As far as what? Well, I mean, I threw him, took him down. I don't remember what exactly, but I was in a mount situation.
Okay.
Throwing down some strikes, and a couple people had to pull me off, I guess. But
okay.
Okay. I was under the impression it might have been the opposite. Like you were the jackass, but you were just like the innocent bystander. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that I love about when I am training. Not that it's like gone when I'm not training, but it's even more so like heightened when I am training, is I have that calm confidence if there is any kind of confrontation. And the calmness oftentimes diffuses the situation, or it makes the person think like, what's the matter with this person? Like, why are they being so calm, in this? And, the reason is, I've already had 7 or 8 or 9 fights that week, essentially. I mean, not full fights, but you're sparring with somebody, they're resisting you completely. You're figuring out whether you can do these things on a resisting opponent. And once you've already been in 7, 8, 9 of those this week, some guy who pops off and loses his temper and has no idea what he's doing or what he's about to get into, you're much more calm about it. And so that is a great benefit of becoming at least competent in some type of martial art, is that, you do have a level of confidence that you don't have otherwise.
I do want to go back to when you brought up Aikido. So originally Aikido is an unarmed person against somebody with the sword, mostly,
right? Yeah.
Or some sort of striking weapon, right? And the whole idea behind Aikido originally, right, was to disarm the other person, is what it was, right?
Yep.
But the thing is, like, what Aikido is practiced now is not what it looked like when a samurai in the 1500s was taking away a sword from somebody else. Because, and I like to give the example of, have you guys seen The Last Samurai before?
This is the one.
What about adding an addition?
We need to check the zoning. Plans? I added a contingency. Upgrade needed? Property line ends here. Clemson's back on. Let's sign.
Yes.
Yes. Good
So
movie.
when Tom Cruise was training with those individuals, and like they would crack him across the spine with a wooden sword. Like that's what it was originally. Like,
yep.
They were basically training to not get killed and training to not make mistakes, because if you make a mistake, you get killed. So that's what it looked like back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be more of a realistic depiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just practiced as an art and as a body manipulation and awareness, but there's not this this overwhelming urge to, save your own life kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you saw, Aikido or individuals that did it back then, that actually went against somebody that knew how to handle the sword and was trying to kill them, and they had to realistically take it away from them, it would probably look more like what Tom Cruise was going through in The Last Samurai. And probably, people probably got hurt all the time, because again, they're trying to do realistic moves to literally kill people,
Right.
So that it was real hand-to-hand warfare back then. But
yeah,
dude, I do like it in the movie, but the one badass samurai is kicking Tom Cruise's ass the entire movie and being a dick to him. But then at the end, like, they kind of get respect for it. Like, he has respect for Tom Cruise because he's able to match him, not beat him, but you could tell they were like 50-50. And that's what I remember is like the guy, you could tell right then, it's like, okay, now you have your respect from me. But I forget how that movie came out like over 20 years ago. I only saw it like twice, but I do remember that. That was so fucking awesome. It almost makes me want to think about like some of the best movie fight scenes, but that's another discussion. Michael, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just saying the same can be said for, many of the Japanese arts, or the the Okinawan arts, many of the karates, they looked very different in the way that was trained many years ago in Japan. And even, a lot of the early generations in the United States, the karate looked very different than what you see in a lot of the dojos today, where it's very commercialized. If you show up for 18 months, you're going to get your black belt. They're going to move you through. That wasn't the case. These guys were legit. These guys were training their fist and their knuckles, and they were hardening their knuckles on, bamboo sticks, and really, not just training their minds, but also really hardening and training their bodies. And a lot of those elements have been left behind, today. And there's almost a caricature of karate.
Mm-hmm. Jay, you're not getting your black belt in 18 months, by the way, just so you know.
What if I train every day? Then what?
No.
Damn it, man, motherfucker. Oh well. It will come.
No way.
It will come. But I'm gonna keep going. Cole, we're about to wrap this up, man. I got one last question. It's kind of a funny question, but it's a legit question. So, Michael, Cole, which martial art do we think? We talked about a whole bunch of different things here, but which martial art gets the most women? Yeah, I know, right? I know, Cole. I know what Cole's answer is going to be, but Michael, let's start with you. Which martial art's going to get the most bitches, man? Be like, hey, I want to learn from you.
I'm going to go with kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
I just think it appeals to the female psyche more than the others. It's very understandable. You're kicking, you're punching. You don't have to really know exactly what's going on. You can just watch it and go, oh yeah, that's great. They can do that good. They're dangerous. So yeah, I would go with that.
Cole, I think I know what your answer is.
Taekwondo. It's true. There's a lot of women that do Taekwondo for whatever reason. I don't know.
They're definitely not in the grappling arts, man. You can count. I don't know many women that really do like grappling stuff for sure, because I think they're all turned off on like rolling with like big sweaty dudes. And I understand it. It is what it is. Yeah, man, I don't really know, but it is a nice little icebreaker or something for some random girl at a bar, if that's what you're going to do, if you want to like pull that move. Not speaking from experience, of course. Yeah. But Cole, man, it was great to have you here, man. Everyone, please, that is listening to our show, go on and check out his show, Student First Martial Arts, right, Cole?
Yeah, so as far as a couple of the social medias and the thing that I'm involved with, so the name of the dojo is Student First Martial Arts in Monroe, North Carolina. The YouTube channel is Student First Martial Arts, and you'll see.
For procurement managers, Grainger is the go-to partner that helps keep your healthcare facilities ready for patients. Because there's no time to manage orders and deliveries from multiple suppliers, Grainger offers everything in one place, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. All with fast delivery that helps ensure you always have what you need to put patient care first. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Probably the most, well, yeah, I'd probably say at this point, probably the most content and things that I've put out is on there, because I've had a podcast called The Well-Rounded Grappler that I've been doing for probably about 3 years, and that you can get on Spotify, but the first 50 episodes were audio only. So I don't have really very many of them on the YouTube channel. If you want to see or listen to some of the older podcast episodes of the Well-Rounded Grappler, you can find those on Spotify. But I've been trying to put stuff out on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, and just there's quite a few reasons on why I do that. I mean, one, to spread the word of martial arts in general, especially judo, to help people, get better from the feet. And then also it helps get, my name out there a little bit in the local community as well, which is, it helps sometimes. It doesn't really help much yet, but there are a handful of individuals that have either contacted me locally that have seen something online, regarding me or the dojo, or a technique video or a discussion or whatever. Or I've also had some people that have had me come out and teach, and they said, before I asked you to come out, I wanted to see kind of what you were about. So, they watched some of the videos I've put out about either, technique probably or philosophy or something like that. But
what is your YouTube channel again? What is your YouTube channel again, Cole?
It's Student First Martial Arts, Student First, like 1ST first, like first place, Student First Martial Arts. Yeah. So
got it.
But yeah, all the content's free. You can listen to any of that stuff or watch any of that stuff, and it's free. So
yeah, I don't know how many I think we have some martial artists that listen to our show. I don't know how many sports fans from your podcast. I don't know how many there are. I will say there is like kind of a disconnect between like actual like sports and martial arts. Like me and Michael are a very unique like persona when it comes to like this field. Like I don't know many people who like football or basketball or baseball that do like, a lot of martial arts, and vice versa. It's just like there is just a massive disconnect there. And I don't know, maybe me and Michael can bridge that gap. Maybe you can bridge that gap. Who knows? But other than that, man, thank you for being here. Anyone from your channel, please like and subscribe our show as well. Michael, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you coming, Cole. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, I think we're ready to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys watching. And we will see you back next week. All right, we're out.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.